Hi, I'm Leslie Hudson, and thank you for joining me on another edition, another October Breast Cancer Story edition. Today's interview is going to be with Alfrieda Perry. Now, Alfrieda is a 23-year breast cancer warrior, fighter. I mean, this girl, you don't want to miss it. She's going to tell you about her journey, which includes BII. BII is breast implant illness. New, huh? Never heard of it? Me either. But this sister, this warrior, this survivor is going to share her journey with you and everything that she encountered. Stay tuned for another special edition of a breast cancer story that you don't want to miss.
Yeah, come on, yeah. When you wake up in the morning and you need a little boost, Leslie Hudson has a cup of inspiration just for you. What an awesome way to start your day on Mocha Chocolate Mondays. On Mocha Chocolate Mondays.
How are you doing today, Miss Alfrieda?
I'm awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You look fabulous.
And so do you.
Your skin is clear. I'm loving this natural hair. I love the sister locks.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what made you go on that journey, ma'am? May I ask?
Well, I'm a stylist, and I've been doing hair probably 25 years.
I love it.
Yes. And, you know, I went through every stage, and especially with being a breast cancer survivor, I lost all my hair, and when I grew back, I just grew back natural, and I eventually just wanted to take this journey, and I love it, absolutely love it.
It looks good on you.
Thank you.
I really like it a lot.
You.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey. So I know that you are a 23
year.
Wow, 23 survivor, thriver, warrior, all of that, right? So tell me about your journey. How did you first learn that you had breast cancer?
Well, I was 24 years old, and I had miscarried. And in between my 6-week checkup after the miscarry, I noticed that I had a little soreness in my breast. I had a small little lump, and I asked my husband to feel it, and he felt it, and so I said, I'm going to make an appointment. So I went in, saw the doctor. She did the manual exam, and she suggested we do a sonogram instead of a mammogram because I was so young and my insurance wouldn't approve it, and just red tape. So we did the sonogram, and they came back and said it was just a cyst. But I had family history, and so I advocated for myself.
Good for you.
To have a biopsy.
Good for you.
Went in for the biopsy, and back then they did the surgery. It was not the needle biopsy that they sometimes do now. It was a full surgery, yes. And it came back that it was malignant, stage 2 breast cancer.
Stage 2. So I was going to ask, was it, in your family? So it's a genetic.
Yes. So I found out later, way later in 2014, that it was that I was BRCA1 positive.
Okay.
Yes, I had a BRCA mutation.
Okay. Okay. So in your family history, who else had breast cancer?
In 1990, my mom's sister, Sarah, she died from breast cancer. And, that kind of made everyone else just aware.
Aware.
Yeah, aware. So she was the first that I knew of. But after my diagnosis, 2 more sisters were diagnosed, as well as my biological sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you miscarry, you go in, you felt something yourself. So were you a woman at 24 years young, used to doing your own, breast checks? Did you do that regularly all the time anyway?
I had my first exam when I was probably about 17.
Okay.
And they told me then I had fibrocystic breast disease. So I automatically just started checking, and I wasn't always consistent with it, but you know.
Okay. So stage 2, was it estrogen positive? Was it
Yes.
It was estrogen positive. Okay, so what did they do after that? You know, did you go through chemo?
Yes, I had 6 months of chemo
Okay.
and 6 weeks of radiation.
6 weeks of chemo, 6 weeks of radiation. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So did you opt to do reconstructive surgery? Did you have to do a surgery?
So the initial diagnosis, I opted for a lumpectomy, and the lumpectomy, they removed the lump, and they also took, I believe it was like 24 of my lymph nodes, and one was positive. So
after you did the 6 months, I think you said, of radiation and
chemo,
6 months
weeks.
of chemo,
Yes, yeah,
and then you had to do radiation as well.
yes,
Okay. So the first diagnosis, you're 24 years old.
yes,
You go through the chemo.
yes.
You lose your hair during that time.
I lost my hair, gained 30-something pounds. Just
It was all right. It was the chemo, no radiation.
radiation after the chemo.
After the chemo, okay. And everything's fine after that.
Everything was fine for 12 years.
12 years.
Yes.
So 12 years.
12 years later, I felt another lump, found it myself again.
Was it in the same breast?
Yes, same breast in 2010.
Okay.
Yes.
So they didn't do, they did do a lumpectomy the first time?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They did
Okay.
a lumpectomy the first time. The second time in 2010, I had the left mastectomy.
Okay. You did the left mastectomy. Okay. So did you opt to do reconstructive surgery during that time or no?
I did reconstruction on the left side, and once I tested positive for the BRCA1 gene, I went back and did the right side,
Okay.
as well as full hysterectomy.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, and then I had, reconstruction.
So your reconstruction, I know for me, I did a tram flap where they took the tissue. So did they do the same thing for you, or you did something different?
I did something a little different. They did the latissimus flap and over implants.
So they did that over the implants. So that seems like was that a new technique or?
No, I don't think it was new. It was just, I was just going on the suggestion of what my doctors and my plastic surgeon suggested.
Okay.
I was a lot thinner then, so I didn't think I had enough tissue.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So that was the other
fill
option.
the girls up, right? Sort of. So the second diagnosis, you had reconstructive surgery.
Yes, in 2010.
In 2010. Okay. After that, everything's fine.
Everything was fine for a while. I had a capsule contracture on the left breast, which is where you kind of get a hardening because of the implant. So I had that implant replaced.
Okay.
And then in 2014, after discovering that I had the BRCA1 gene, we had the right mastectomy done, as well as reconstruction on the right with the implant.
I know you went through a period of time that you began to have some issues.
Yes, I began to have unusual symptoms, and I went to numerous doctors, specialists, to try to figure out what was going on.
Right, and what type of symptoms, so the audience may know what happened?
The first symptom was very mild. It was just a rash that was reoccurring, and it was underneath my breast, and then sometimes on my torso. Eventually, I started getting like hives as well, like on my face, swelling in my face.
Wow.
Started having hair loss, memory loss. arthritic type.
Really?
Yes, like I could barely walk sometimes. I went from being really active, like running, walking 7 miles a week,
Right.
a day,
Right, right.
and to just not being able to barely get out of bed and go to work. And so I knew something was wrong, and doctors kept telling me that it was in my head. They couldn't find anything.
It's like, how can that be in your head? You know what's happening to your body,
Exactly.
right?
I knew something was wrong. They even told me at one point that I was depressed. So I'm like, yes, I am, because I know something's wrong.
Absolutely.
And I need help.
Absolutely.
So eventually I happened to be watching a TV show, and I saw that there was this not really new, but they had discovered breast implant illness.
Breast implant
Yes.
illness.
Yes.
So when you saw that, what was the first thing you thought about? After you've gone through the rashes, the memory loss, the fatigue, the arthritic pain, and all those things.
I knew that right away. I said, oh my God, I got to get these things taken out, because that is when I started having symptoms.
Right, right.
Those symptoms.
After you had the...
After I had the implants, yes. My blood pressure was
Wow.
elevated, even during the hospital stay. The nurse came in at one point and she said, have you always had problems with your blood pressure? And I said, no.
Wow.
And she said, okay, well, it's a little elevated. And that was one of the symptoms as well.
Wow. We really need people to know about this breast cancer illness, because surely people may not know, like you did not know, right?
I did not know. I had no idea. And I went on to research it, and I discovered there's a page, a website, Breast Implant Healing. And
Oh, wow.
yes. And it was like a whole community of women that were suffering the way that I did. And I suffered for almost 9 years.
9 years,
9 years.
Alfrieda,
9
of going through those different symptoms, not knowing what it is.
Right.
Going to the doctor saying, hey, something's just not right.
Yes.
So did you even circle back to the surgeon who put them in, or the oncologist, or somebody to say,
Yes.
hey, guys?
I went back to the surgeon that did my breast implants, and I was told that the type that causes that disease was not the type that he used, and that he would remove them, but he was just not moving fast enough for me, because I was really, really suffering.
Right, right.
So I found another doctor, and she was amazing. She knew about the illness.
Okay.
She was part of she created her own study
Awesome.
about it. So yeah, I was relieved to find someone that understood what I was going through, and wasn't telling me it was in my head.
Absolutely. It's not in here. And that's the thing, too. I think that we as women, and everyone, not just women, need to pay attention to your bodies. You have to listen to your body. So, Alfrieda, you had so many different things happen, and the body saying, hello, all these different things. And then you go into the doctors.
Right. And basically what it was is like my body was basically rejecting the implants. And
Absolutely.
That's why it kept creating the capsules around them. And my doctor who did my explant, she eventually, she used my photographs from my surgery to spread the news, because she was like, it was there.
And when you say capsules, so that the people will understand what the capsules are, what was that? You know what I mean? Explain.
So a capsule, normally when you have implants, your body does create a thin capsule to protect you from this foreign object that's in your body. My body kept producing capsule over capsule over capsule, trying to get,
Wow.
yeah, just basically,
Your body says, no,
Yes.
we don't want this.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned too that the surgeon said, well, you don't have that type. When you went to him and said, there's a breast implant illness.
Right.
And he said, or she said, oh, that's not the type you have. So are there different types of implant? Is it what they're made out of, or?
Well, that's what they were trying to say, is that the type that I had were smooth, and they were trying to say that only the textured type caused this illness.
Okay.
But since then, it's been in the news a lot recently that all types can cause this.
Okay.
And it's not just the texture, it's the silicone itself. So even if you have saline, you can still have breast implant illness.
I see.
It's the silicone itself. And I don't know the scientific
Right.
terms or whatever, but I think that over time the silicone just gets in your bloodstream, and it affects every organ in your body.
So you get them removed, right?
Yes.
And after the removal, which was what year?
It was February 19th, 2018. I will never forget it.
Were you like a whole new person back to yourself?
I was a whole new person. My skin literally was gray. Like I had no tone in my skin. Thank you. My hair stopped shedding. I lost like 15 pounds just from having the surgery, just having them removed.
Wow.
Because it was just so much fluid and, just
And you would
wreaking
think
havoc.
today, and I didn't look up the statistics, I'm not sure if you know how many women who have breast implants may have the rejection, or is it over time that it probably will happen? You know what I mean?
Initially, I was told that it was over time, and that you do have to have your breast implants replaced ever so often. Yes, they're not to stay in for 10, 20 years. So, yeah.
So wait a minute. So I did not know that. That is, wow, that's interesting. So you, my sister, you went through it because of, you know what I mean? You went through breast cancer, but there are women who just want to have implants. You know, today, society, you want implants here, you want implants here, you want implants everywhere.
Yes.
But that's something you have to get replaced?
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. So you got them removed. You're beautiful today.
Thank you.
Get back to the Mr. Alfrieda that you once were. But 9 years of not knowing what was going on.
Yes.
You would think today, though, that wouldn't even be an option. You know what I mean?
Right.
Knowing what they know now, right?
Right. But they still haven't taken them completely off the market. Some textures or brands they have, but not totally, which I don't understand.
Right.
I just don't.
I don't understand that.
It's killing people, Wow. And to have gone through breast cancer and fought for my life.
Absolutely.
And then have these breasts that I chose to replace.
Right.
Yeah, it was devastating. All over again.
But God.
Yes, but God. Yes, absolutely.
But God, you are here. You are strong.
Yes, thank you.
So I know that you started a foundation.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So my cousin was diagnosed with breast cancer as well. I forgot to mention her. We grew up like sisters, and shortly after her diagnosis, she had some financial difficulties being a single mom of 2 girls, and she went to several organizations that are well-known cancer society organizations, foundations.
Yeah.
And she was basically told that she had to be 3 months behind on her rent or bills in order to get help.
Any help?
Yes. And so my husband and I just decided one day just to bless her with something, just for her and the girls, not thinking, we had no idea that she was going through the struggle.
Right,
She didn't openly
right.
talk about it. But after we gave her a gift, she called and she was in tears and she was just
Aw.
like, thank you so much. And, you know, I didn't know, I was not aware that it was that hard to get help.
Right, right.
And so I just felt compelled to do something.
That's
And
awesome.
yes. And I also had an incident where I was in for my own checkup. And my doctor called me out of my checkup and what I was, there for, scheduled to have an exam, and asked me to talk to another young lady that was single as well. And so I'm just like, God, what do I do? What,
Right, right.
And it just came to me one day. I meditate regularly, so I was just meditating and the word lotus came to me. And I'm like, lotus, why is this word like in my head? And so I just, kept focusing and it came Ladies of Triumph, United Survivors.
And I love that. I do.
Thank you.
I love the emblem, all of the logo is beautiful.
Thank you. And so I got with my cousin and I told her, I said, we need to do something. I wanted to help her. And so I started, thinking of what I could do.
Right.
So I know we all, as women, we have extra clothes, shoes, jewelry.
Yes, we do.
And so I thought about just asking my friends to make a donation, and then I would sell the items and donate it to whatever young lady that needed help had breast cancer and that was single. Those were the only two qualifications. Right. You have breast cancer, you're a single mother.
Okay. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And I know you do a lot in the community. Do you have any upcoming events around the foundation today?
I don't have anything coming up, but we have something in the works we can talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what would you say to any young woman out there, being that you were such a young woman yourself at the age of 24,
yes.
Being diagnosed and finding a lump yourself, what advice can you give, I would say, for me, even the high school students?
Absolutely, absolutely. Get your exam and learn to do manual exams on yourself and do it regularly, once a month. And also advocate for your own health and wellness. If there's something going on with you, you know your body better than anyone.
That is so true.
Doctors were telling me in two situations, they were telling me no, it couldn't be possible, but it was. And I thank God for giving me, I know the knowledge of what is going on with me,
Absolutely.
and to speak up for myself.
And to speak up for yourself, you have to listen to your bodies.
Yes.
That is crucial.
Yes.
When something happens differently, pay attention to it and not just discount it. And I think, some people may not pay attention to their bodies, and then at the same time, they will go with the first thing someone tells them,
Yes.
oh, it's nothing, and walk away.
Right.
And then you suffering for more years.
Right.
But I'm so glad that you were an advocate for you and standing up for you. You know what I mean? So that is awesome. So I want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming and telling us about your journey, your story. I'm glad that you are here. So everything's fine today, right?
Everything's fine today. Yes.
23.
Yes. 23 years.
That's something to celebrate each and every year. We should celebrate every day. That's my whole thing, is to celebrate life. So each and every day that we're here and we can breathe, we should be celebrating.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
How can people learn more about Lotus and where to
Yes.
find you?
So you can reach me on my personal cell phone. I will answer any questions, any calls. It's 770-490-3717. Also, Lotus Ladies of Triumph United Survivors on Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, come on, yeah, yeah. When you wake up in the morning and you need a little boost, Leslie Hudson has a cup of inspiration just for you. What an awesome way to start your day on Mocha Chocolate Mondays. On Mocha Chocolate Monday.